People who buy from you once are 12 times more likely to buy from you again. They are your raving fans. They are the ones that are going to be saying, I want more, so give them the big kahuna. What could that look like? What value could people get out of deep dives of intensity, whether it is for 5 days or 30 days or 365 days? If you've got the staying power, right? Like, I think this then becomes, it's up to the coach. Is the coach
Totally.
willing and able to experiment? Are they willing and able to get out of their lane and do the work? Because we do not live in a world of boxes.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Britton, and welcome to the Coaching Money Podcast. I've been on a mission for the last 20 years to expand the coaching conversation to many. Along with my co-host, Ivana Valley, we're going to be exploring coaching as it relates to conversations, connection, and change in both personal and professional settings. Coaching Money is about creating empowering and thought-provoking spaces for conversation which strengthen relationships and enhance results. Throughout the Coaching Money podcast, we'll share tools, practices, and approaches to support you in your conversations, one dialogue at a time.
So derivatives. Derivatives is our topic of the day. We're going to be looking at all the different ways we can be working with groups and teams. And I have to say, Ivana, in 2026, there are so many different ways that we could be engaging with groups and teams. When you hear the word derivative, what first comes to mind for you in your work?
I think for me in my work, and this is a great topic, and I think it's especially relevant right now, is for me, the first thing that comes to mind is the ethics, is really having that responsibility and ensuring that whatever we're offering, whatever derivative, whatever variation is, it's really clear to our participants. And so we need to be clear in what we're doing. So having that discernment ourselves.
Yes.
And and so in having that, then I can show up in,
Mm.
that space of, okay, right now I'm wearing my group coach hat versus, okay, I'm actually doing some training. We're doing some drills. We're doing some tools. We're doing what these
Mm.
different things are. So it to me, when I think about derivatives and how that plays out, it's really speaks to that agility, but
Yeah.
also that transparency that's really required with our participants, with the people who are in the room,
Yeah.
virtual or present. So that way they know what they're coming for and what they can expect.
Yeah. And I think, the whole notion of derivatives is we're shifting and maybe morphing what we offer so that we are meeting their needs differently. Because in this category, and some of you might be thinking, well, what is a derivative? Could be a mastermind, it could be a
Mhm.
retreat, could be a sprint, it could be a 5-day challenge like we're running right now.
Yeah.
There's just so many different ways that we could be coaching. And maybe not just coaching, because I know we continue to see in our advanced group and team coaching
Mhm.
practicum, people who really don't want to just purely coach. They may be leading a mastermind and bringing some other skill sets to the table.
Mhm.
So we want to get you thinking about, in today's world of ongoing change, in today's world of being responsive or agile, shifting, what is it that your clients are
Mhm.
asking for that might be another derivative of a type of a group, a team, or even a peer program? Because I
Yep.
think one of the areas we are seeing tremendous growth in workspaces is the appetite for peer initiatives. I'm seeing a bit of a, again, as I like to think about things on not just a continuum, but there's a lot of back and forth. And I think in times of economic downturn,
Mhm.
organizations do turn to peer learning because it is more cost effective, maybe less intensive on bringing people in from outside. And
Mhm.
if we are doing peer learning, we want to make sure that people have those peer skills of listening, of asking good questions, of building trust, safety, and connection. So I think you'll want to look at your landscape right now. What are the shifts you're noticing? What are people requesting? Is it pure coaching initiatives
Mhm.
or is it a bit of a derivative? So yeah, let's see what are you doing in your work right now? I think you're doing some derivative work. What are you seeing in your landscape?
Yeah. So what in my work, even yesterday, I just kicked off a group program in
Mhm.
Italy, and it's a conversation lab. It's really around supporting communication skills in Italy, but
Mhm.
in their non-native language. There's absolutely a derivative of group coaching, really creating that container. And I was very transparent.
Mm,
I'm like, in order for us to be able to role play, have conversations about what our work requires of us, we need to have safety here. So I did
yeah.
do ways of working. I did do that
Mhm.
stuff. And it was really important that I recognized listening to them, there's a lot of peer support available. And
Yes,
so,
yes.
and like you said, it's those listening, it's those present, it's those questions to go, okay, wow, rather than me be on the soapbox, let's
Mhm.
open it up. There was someone in the conversation that was very new in her role,
Mm,
stronger in English. And then
yes.
there was someone else in the group who was pretty competent in English, but seasoned in her role. And then
Mhm.
there was one who was, really needed some skill in English, seasoned in her role, but not very confident. So as the coach, I was facilitating, I was coaching, but I was
Mhm.
really listening to seeing how can I support this group to support one another. So I'm
Yeah.
not at the front of the room all the time because they know
Yes.
their industry more than I do. And
Yeah.
so for
Yeah.
me, it
Yeah.
really is that. It's like it's activating the peer, you
Totally.
know,
Mhm.
even in between conversations, even
Yeah.
between meetings, I set that up.
Yes.
So, I think it's really important that, and I'm saying that because I need to hear this myself, is like, what are the needs of the group? Even sometimes
Yeah.
we think we're going in and we think something that it has to
Mhm.
look like this. And then we show up and we have to be agile. And I'm thinking about the superpowers, Jen, right?
Yeah.
These three individuals that I just mentioned, they all needed a different superpower from me.
And that's the joy of this work, right? It
And
doesn't
it is.
sound like, look like, feel like the same thing every day, right? Every hour is different because the group is different or the team is different, and they need something different from us. Not only in terms
Absolutely.
of structure, but I'm hearing in terms of presence and approaches, right? Which is,
Yeah.
for me, the fun part of the derivative is what are the different ways we can structure programming? Is it an intensive deep dive like what I was doing
Mhm.
out of Barbados a few weeks ago? Is it
Yeah.
the 5-day challenge that I love? And I've committed now to doing 2 a year. So we did our last one in August. It was the Spark to Scale. This one is now looking at your business reset, which to me is really where people are at. They need the
Mhm.
intensity of spending 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes a day on their business to pause and take stock of what's happening, to be inspired by others and connect deeply with others, but not necessarily for 6 weeks. It's
Mhm.
an intensive burst. So I think we hope today that you get thinking for yourself with your context, your world, your client needs, what could be a derivative of a group or a team program? Because I think many people want to feel like they are not alone right now. And so
Absolutely.
I think the creative factor is immense in what this work can look like at the moment.
I think it's that. And I think it's also, which you have over the years, you've just modeled this so beautifully for me, is the iteration. Like we are
Yes.
always, as whether you are in an organization or whether you're leading like as a external coming into an organization or just public
Mhm.
programs, we need to be continuously listening and iterating. It's in the moment. Like you need to
Mm,
have something but you don't know what their needs are. You can make some assumptions, but you also have to be willing to adapt and go, okay, right now, I need to slow this down.
yes.
Or, you know what? Like they're done with this. Are we ready to move on? Letting them dictate their journey. And whether you're doing retreats or peer coaching, peer group coaching, a fusion of training and coaching. Like a lot of people are doing training programs and that then go into a group program. Like
Mm,
you allow yourself to be creative. And I, more than anything, right now in 2026, both for the people that we support, but also for ourselves, for our own joy, for our own livelihood's sake, we have to be
mhm.
willing to be agile and listening to what's going on. But I think it's also, Jen, I think it's important that we actually have some clarity on what these things are. And I think it's important that maybe
Mm,
we take a couple minutes and
yeah.
go, okay, like what
Yeah.
is this?
How is it distinct too?
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
we lead from? And so you touched a few minutes ago on retreats, right? Like I think retreats have always been a favorite for coaches. It's that deep dive, whether you're doing it in person or increasingly in the last decade, it's maybe been virtual retreats, which allow for people to really come and pause and maybe have, sometimes it's an internal focus, right? It could be a business retreat, learning about your own business, or it could be really about the experience. I think to me that is the defining factor of a retreat, is it's the intensity and the depth of connection with self, connection with others, connection with the retreat leader, is part of the retreat, because I love retreats, right? Is part of the retreat. Is there an adventure component? Is there a experience component wherever you're hosting the retreat? To me, there's a lot of latitude of what that can look like. But it is the intensity. It's the intensity of the event. And I know you do retreats as well. Like, what would you add to discussion around retreats?
I think with retreats, it's really important. And as both as a participant of retreats, business retreats, it's really made me very sensitive to, you're right, the intensity is there, but intensity does not mean jamming the days. I think that the power of a retreat is the spaciousness.
Yeah.
And I was reading over the weekend the increase of retreats, experiences that actually disconnect people from their devices.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, especially, right? Even yay to AI, but I don't know about you, but I find I'm even more on my device because I'm exploring things, this and that. So when I heard you say intensity, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
But it's not, and we just need, again, it goes back to me, is like, what is the intention underneath? So you could be bringing people together for business, but do they need oxygen or do they need momentum?
Yeah.
And your retreat experience and your design of your experience of your retreat. Like when I was designing the ones in Italy, I was very, very intentional how the arc of the day was, right? The morning was the activity,
The
right?
afternoon was
And
the rest.
and the reflection and the rest and the integration.
And I think if we go back to the word retreat, right? Like I used to do so much of this in my first few years of the business because, right, this is what I did in the Caribbean for 15 years. There were always retreat sites where we'd get away. And to your point, it was very much about the social as much as the experience, formalized, structured, unstructured. But there was a great, I forgot about these books. I'm sure I still have a copy of them somewhere. Maybe they're in storage. But there was a series of books by an author named Jennifer Loudon, which were so good. The Women's Retreat book, I think, was one that I used to use. And it was such a great resource guide. So again, there's good resources out there. And I think people are hungry for retreats, are hungry to get away. And whether it is tech enabled or not tech enabled, just be with and be in that intensive space, which makes me anything else on retreats. Because when I think intensity, I think about another offering that we have been doing for a few years now, which I love. So you ready to leave the world of retreats to a different type of intensity?
But I'm wondering if I'm tracking the same thing as you are with this. I'm like, go, Jen, because I'm already thinking intensity. What's something that I have in mind with what you create a potential to realize, but I want to see if I'm tracking with you. Go
Well, I
ahead.
wonder if you're going to go to boosters or if you're going to go to 5-day challenges, because I was going to go to the booster days, which are not retreats, but they are boosters, right? So we run twice a year the Coaching Biz Booster, beginning mid-year and end of year, to really help coaches, business owners plan for the year. That's a half-day intensity, but it's not like a retreat intensity. It's very much sprints and time windows to really help people focus and zoom in. And I think when you started talking about the AI, I was thinking about the AI-enabled Coach and Solopreneur Booster Days that I introduced a year ago, which still are very popular, right? It's that intensive 3.5 to 4 hours where we get to work on our business, on workflows in AI, on programming, on content creation. And what I love about boosters is there are guardrails. So you said something earlier about the intensity of AI, and the latest research is showing that something is happening within our brains. Two things that I think are really interesting to note, at least as we're recording this in 2026. One, brain fry.
Yeah.
It's a new term, brain fry. And I think we can all relate where you might have spent too much time on AI and all of a sudden your brain feels like it is on fire. And that is a real, it's not just a term,
Hmm.
it's a real cognitive event. And so the cognitive load of interactions with AI can be immense. We're only starting to see the impact of that. So what I love about boosters is you're doing this intense burst within a time window, whether it is half day or I think I used to do full day boosters for the coaching business booster, but it was again, people don't have the time. They don't have the
Yeah.
time. And I would say they don't have the cognitive bandwidth anymore. We really are
Yeah.
seeing significant shifts to attention in the last 5, 6 years. So I love boosters. I think really seeing what people get out of them. And that takes me to our next one. So before I leave boosters, you've been on a booster with me. What did you like about the
Mhm.
booster process?
I think it helped me get some momentum in an area where I was stuck. Like, and it was
Mm,
structured, and so there was direction. So I didn't have to think; I just had to do. And so I think as a
yeah.
solopreneur, as a lone wolf, sometimes I feel like, okay, what is there to do? And so it was really great because I was like, okay, trusting in Jen, we're just going to do this, and trusting that there's something will come through it, and it did.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It really shifted some direction, some new product offerings for me. And I was
Hmm.
like, wow, okay, this is really, really great. And I will say, not everyone needs a booster. Like
Truly. Yeah.
some people are so stimulate. So you have to be mindful. And I'm going to say this because I won't sleep tonight if I don't, is you really do need to know what your people's needs are.
Yes.
And so a good portion of our community at Potential realize thrive through those boosters,
Yeah.
and then there's others who actually need more slow, consistent, but not
Hmm.
in half days. And I say this
Yeah.
because I think it's really important to name that whatever you're doing, you need to really be adapting to what are the needs. Like mine was an English conversation lab. 90 minutes was more than enough.
Hmm.
Anything more, they would have checked out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that comes
Yeah.
through experience, that comes through even the simplicity. Like, I want to name this, even the boosters, like sometimes we think, oh, we have to just like have so many things. It's in the simplistics that
Totally.
actually that can
The
shift
power
something
comes.
shifts. Yeah, the
Yes.
power comes.
Yeah. It's so
And
true. And
so,
like, again, who are your clients? When I work, I do so
oh,
much work with entrepreneurs and business owners, right? Which
yeah,
the MO is got to get it done, right?
yeah,
Especially as a sole business owner.
mhm,
There's no time, which means that a booster is a really appropriate,
absolutely.
format, a very important derivative, but it's not, as you said, it's not for everyone. So really be thinking about what your clients are yearning for. Is it more speed? Is it more space? Those are two competing demands. And so we want to design for them. What's coming up, and I would say that episode we did on inclusive design is a
Hmm.
really important one to be thinking about. It's not only how do you bring all the voices in the room, but even beyond that, of like, how are you designing for what people really, really need in the moment?
Episode 34, let me just add, inclusive design, go
34.
check out episode 34. Yeah.
Okay, inclusive design. And we've done others on design, but I think design is really an art and a science. As I was
Mhm.
sharing yesterday in Team Coaching Essentials, we really dove into some of the neuroscience of great design. And we've talked now retreats, boosters. Let's go to challenges. I love challenges. I don't know if that
Me
was
too.
the other intensity one that you were thinking of. So, challenges, maybe
Yeah.
you haven't offered one, but it's something that we do at least once, or this year I'm going to plan on doing two for 2026. I started introducing them back in 2020 during the days of the
Mm.
pandemic. And what makes a challenge special is It is intensive bursts over a period of days. We typically do 5 days, a Monday to Friday, where it can be all done live, or increasingly what we do now is it's a video on demand that people can listen to. There's a drop every day, and then there's a couple
Mhm.
of live calls during the week. And I think people love coming together for those. It is, again, an opportunity to take 20 minutes a day focusing on something important to you, and then really looking at connection with others. And I think that connection, I have very, very fond memories of I've probably done 10 to 12. I was thinking about this the other day,
Mm.
probably done 10 or 12 of them in the last 6 years. And each one of them has been different, but a challenge is similar to a booster in that you want to get some traction going, but it's in bite-sized pieces. It's not as deep intensity. It's maybe just 20 minutes a day or 40 minutes a day where you can actually leave with something tangible that's going to move you forward.
Mhm. Yeah. Jen, I see a lot of challenges. It can be done as you offer to the community who's in our orbit. And it's
Mhm.
also, I see challenges often also done, in a marketing phrase, that lead magnet. So you can actually
Yeah.
bring people into your
Mhm.
community. And a challenge like you do, or could be asynchronous as well as connection. And we all are, and I'm going to use this word, we're all thirsty for some human connection. Neuroscience, we're hardwired for connection. So we really do
Mhm.
thrive on that social connection, that brain.
Yes.
But also some even challenges can also be even a 5-day challenge that you send information out and you send a video on demand, right? And
Mhm.
then at the end, you introduce people to a conversation of,
Yeah.
what was that journey to incent people to really come together. So there's so many different iterations of a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, and there's different reasons on why you might and when you might
Mhm. And how
introduce
you
a
might,
challenge
right?
and how
But
you
again,
might.
thinking about what your clients want. And I think there is that lead magnet piece, right, is really important to be constantly building your community, because in many communities, there's a lot of flow to and fro. And so, how do you keep your community vibrant? Which makes me, so I'm going to just have to do a little plug here, because technology is an enabler. What are we doing? How are we bringing people together? And it's interesting. I had an outreach just less than 2 weeks ago from Mighty Networks, who we are hosted by.
Mm,
And Mighty Networks, I should go get it, but they sent me some lovely elements just as a longtime subscriber. But we're
mm,
also being an advocate for the Mighty Networks platform, because it's a great platform to be able to bring people together, host your challenges, we for years hosted many of our cohorts for group coaching, team coaching essentials, virtual facilitation essentials. It's a community hub. So it is more than, say, you could do on a WhatsApp, but it is
totally.
just that nice container for people to come together. There's a community element. You can post videos, etc. So yeah, I want to give a shout out to, say, Mighty Networks. Some of you may use others, but for us, it really continues to be all that we need in this moment. And I love it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's great. Easy to set up
Awesome.
too. I think for years you were setting up your cohorts and group coaching
Yeah.
essentials during the pandemic. So
Yeah. Very easy. Very
yeah,
easy. It's just, again, finding that balance and knowing what your clients
want
need, want, and prefer,
yeah,
because there's so much technology
yeah,
that some people just don't want thing.
totally.
Another thing. And that's why we've adapted. And so now
Mhm.
we're very intentional and we see the value of Mighty Network. And so we're
Yeah,
using it for the challenge this week
yeah.
that we're offering. So it's, again, being selective and intentional in the design of
Mhm.
what you're doing where, and whether it be YouTube or WhatsApp or even a hub like Mighty Network. Yeah.
Yeah. Or contrast, the fast hub of, say, WhatsApp. So many of
Yeah.
our groups are keeping the conversations going, which points to, other derivatives. How are you really activating the peer, which could be more a
Totally.
mastermind, right? So a mastermind is yet another derivative of a group program. And I think we still get this question a lot. What's the difference between a mastermind and group coaching? role of facilitator and also advice versus questioning. I think masterminds really at its purity, you come together, you explore common or shared or related challenges and opportunities. But you're really deeply learning with and from each other, like any peer
Mhm.
element. But I think masterminds are great again for business owners. I've been part of masterminds for years, and the peer element is also a real important drawing card. So,
Yeah.
what would you add?
Yeah.
Any resources you can think of around masterminds for people?
I dabbled in masterminds with peers,
Mhm.
but I don't have a lot to add about
Mm.
it.
Yep.
I think there's a time and place. I think the only thing I would say is when you're doing a mastermind, you really want to make sure that the people who are in your mastermind are a good fit.
Yeah,
I think
completely.
that's really like the fact that they are going to pull you, encourage you to, stretch your growth, get out of your
Mhm.
comfort zone. Otherwise, it can just become people coming together and talking about their week, you
Truly.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I would add is you really want to be discerning in
Mm.
how you're creating it and how it's going to be led. Whether
Yeah.
you're going to have a neutral party or I guess would that really be the differences if there's a neutral party at like leading it versus the peer to peer, then it becomes more of a peer group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's so many even in masterminds, we could do a whole, episode on
Mm,
derivatives of masterminds because I think people would
okay.
say, "But wait, I was part of one and da da da." Like, we have the Amplify mastermind, right? It
Hmm.
runs for 9 months, deepest dive, but it has components of different things, like retreats, they attend the boosters, there's, biweekly calls. So, that's again, different,
Yeah.
different. So you want to be just specifying sort of what words coming to my mind is
Hmm.
specifying what is important. So when I think though of this, it then takes me to one final one that I think I want to mention today, which are the sprints. I think people love our sprints, our 30-day writing sprints.
Yes.
Should be back in November. It was interesting though, because I just negotiated a new writing contract. And so we originally were looking at like a different date, but now I think the manuscript will go in for November 1st, which makes me think, well, do I want to do a full month of writing on another project in November? But I probably will. But November is our 30 days of writing. And that is a sprint, right? That is every day showing up, doing the work, and just
Hmm.
really dedication to one thing, which in today's world might sound very intense, but for others, like writers, that could be the boost that people need to get it over the finish
Yeah.
line. So,
For me, I love those sprints. I've done them now 2 years with you.
mhm,
And even time zones, unless it's an atrocious hour, it gives me the discipline. Even if the projects haven't moved over the finish line, I know where those projects are and I know I can pick them up at any
mhm,
time. And
mhm.
I think the great thing about sprints, especially longer term, like the 30-day writing sprint, is you really do get to build a sense of community,
Yes.
which I think is really important. Again, depending on what the needs of your people are, right?
Yeah.
I love them. And
Mhm.
I love the fact that they're short and they're long. And so I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I know every day I'm getting on Zoom with Jen at
Mm.
noon.
Yeah,
So
and they'll just
everything
do
else
it.
works. My life works around
Yeah,
that commitment. And it's an
yeah.
easier commitment rather going, well, it's only a week. No, it's a month. Like you're in
It's a
this to
month,
win it.
yeah. It's 30 days, which is interesting, and so, right now we're doing the second round of the 26 for 26, which
Mhm.
originally started off 2021, 21 minutes of co-working a day for 21 days straight. In those
Yeah.
days, in 2021, we were all at home, so it was like 21 really intensive days, more like what we do in the 30-day,
Mm.
writing sprints, but 26 for 26 is here, again, iterating, evolving to meet the needs, evening program Monday through Thursday. And the first round, well, actually both rounds this year are coming over 2 months because in the midpoint, I've either been away on vacation or
Mm,
I'm going to have to be at jury duty. So
yeah,
it's interesting to think like, what is the value? But people really love just having time, earmarked time to focus
totally.
on their projects. To me, it's important as well to just have that extra time in the evening to be moving initiatives forward. So I've been working on book proposals, I've been working on program outlines, I've been working on getting the challenge together because in the main day of the work, it's hard to get that deep focus. Well, I think we've done a pretty good job on looking at lots of derivatives of group programs. We did less
Hmm.
team. We could do a whole episode on team programs, but I think hopefully this has sparked you to think about what else might be a different type of offering in response to what your clients need right now. And that's really apropos because today, in day 2 of the Business Reset Challenge, which you can watch asynchronously after this week, it is all about refining your offer for now. What
Mm,
do people want? My guess is they want something different than they wanted 3 months ago.
yeah, yeah, beautiful. In what I'm all that you're saying is I'm hearing, intensity, right? Like that
Yeah.
intensity. I'm also hearing experimentation and
Mhm.
really getting into the world. There's not just one way.
Yeah.
There's different ways. And there's a fusion of different things. And so I love the
Yes.
fact that I forget which one it is that you bring in. There's a retreat element, there's a sprint aspect, there's this, like,
Yeah.
because some want all of that.
That's Amplify. It's like the big
Amplify.
kahuna, as
Thank
I
you.
say, right?
Yeah,
It's
thank
really the
you.
full Monty. And some of your clients are gonna want the full Monty, right? This is also a significant strategic business marketing element.
Hmm.
People who buy from you once are 12 times more likely to buy from you again. They are your raving fans. They are the ones that are gonna be saying, "I want more," so give them the big kahuna. What could that look like? What value could people get out of deep dives of intensity, whether it is for 5 days or 30 days or 365 days? If you've got the staying power, right? Like, I think this then becomes it's up to the coach. Is the coach
Totally.
willing and able to experiment? Are they willing and able to get out of their lane and do the work? Because we do not live in a world of boxes, and I'll leave it at
And
that.
I and I'm gonna say, especially right now with the world as it is and the industry of coaching, I think this, if nothing else, this episode really invites you to think about what is that next iteration or fusion of what you already have and how you can
Yeah.
differentiate it or vary it or whatever to really continue supporting the clients. Like even this
Yeah.
lab that I kicked off on a very short window. I normally have a longer ramp up, but the season gave me the information. Like
Mhm.
tourism season kicks off
Yeah.
April 1st. I'm like, okay, well, then I need to get this thing done and
Yes.
ready to go before April 1st. So everything shrunk, but I'm like, I'm using it as a lab. It's
Yeah, it's a
positioned as
lab.
a lab, but also a lab for me to see, okay, what working, what can I do
Yes.
to iterate it? And that's what we're here to do, especially as entrepreneurs, as business leaders, whether you're internal or not. What are your employees saying? What are your
Yeah.
leaders saying? What are you hearing? What can you do to support that next marker for the business, the business, and them? That
Yeah.
win, win, win.
Yep. And that's always what we wanna do is create the win-win-win. So we hope we've inspired you for some new program iteration because chances are, if you listen carefully to what your clients want, they really don't want the same old, same old. Maybe they do. And actually, I should take that back because I think in all these times of change, people do want just something they can rely on, something trusted, but they may want something different. They may not want to commit for long oodles of time, or perhaps that's what they want. They want to know that this is a stable anchor. So, invitation to really look at who your clients are, to sit down with them, to listen to them, and that's going to help inform where you put your attention with program design. So, we look forward to seeing you again for our season 2 wrap up. Our next episode will be our season 2 wrap up, and we'll take a look back at all the amazing 26 episodes of season 2. So, we look forward to seeing you in our next one. Have a good one. Take care.
Bye for
Bye.
now. Ciao.